Hello, dear friends. Naya is with you. Today's mod review is dedicated to the world of ice, but this time we will do without the flame. The mod is relatively new and little known, and it was created by a Russian-speaking modeler. And by the way, it's a girl. Of course, there are many talented guys in the world who create extremely complex and very global fashions. But today, we are supporting a domestic manufacturer. So, the mod is called ResistenzaModIceWorld. You will find a link to it, as always, in the description under the video. The mod is designed primarily for fans of survival in particularly difficult conditions, as well as for those who like various kinds of quests. He adds to us some new blocks, new creatures, some structures, as well as an entire dimension, the frozen world. So, in order to go to this other world, you need to find an entrance there. And the entrance is located in this gazebo. There is an altar in the very center here. You can't craft it. You can only get it from the creative. So in survival mode, you really have to run in search of a structure. The altar is indestructible. It cannot be broken, blown up, or moved by a piston. Before you rush to the altar, in order to look at that world at least out of the corner of your eye, you should know one very important thing. There will be no way back. Well, that is, it will be, but not as easy as you might hope. So if you rushed there empty-handed and, pardon my French, bare ass, then know that it will not be very easy for you on the other side. Well, you've been warned. So we poke at the altar with the right mouse button and transfer. On the other side, we find ourselves in a similar gazebo, only there is no altar here, but there is only one chest. We look inside and find a bunch of logs and all sorts of nonsense. Yes, loot is a little meager. Right. We were expecting something like this and that, which we have not seen before. But don't jump to conclusions. Such a building is generated only once, at the transition point from the ordinary world to the icy one. So you won't find them on the map anymore. I strongly advise you to take everything that is there, and at the same time, the chest itself. And you can also disassemble the gazebo into the bargain, because soon you will appreciate each board more than a scattering of diamonds. After all, there are no trees in this world at all. That is, absolutely. However, if some stupid sprout accidentally got into your inventory and was transported along with you, then you can almost say God. At least your life will be much easier. Well, we get out of the gazebo and look around. Everywhere you look, there is snow and ice pillars everywhere, and also awesome, beautiful, bright purple flowers. They are called purple tulips, and the only thing they are good for is purple dye. But we have a well-developed sense of aesthetics, so we are already imagining how we will decorate our ice palace with these flowers. Speaking of the palace, it's been a long time for us to cook here. So let's see what we can build it out of. Most of the blocks here are ordinary, including ores, but there is also something new. First of all, it is ice stone and its derivatives, ice bricks and steps and fences, quite interesting in color and texture. There is also blue sand. This is, in general, ordinary sand with the same physics, only a beautiful saturated blue color. It can be fried in glass. The most common is not blue. And there is also a new ore, titanium. It is mined only with an iron or diamond pickaxe. Stone, gold are not suitable. If you cut down a block of tools without a cup on silk, then pieces will fall out, which can then be folded into an ingot. If you removed the block with a silk touch, then it can be fried immediately into an ingot, which of course is more profitable. Titanium is a very necessary material in the ice world, but it is not used like ordinary metals to create tools and armor. It has a slightly different purpose. First of all, ingots are needed to create special mechanisms, a melting pot, a seed extractor, and a lubrication table. We will talk about their purpose a little later. Also, titanomic pieces can be made into a titanomic stick, which, when attached with a bucket of lava, will turn into a jade rod. Accordingly, you can make a cooking rack and an ender. If you decide that you have deceived the system and just find a vendor portal or create a transition to a non-provider, then break off. It won't work, and I declare this to you responsibly. The vendor portal does not exist in this dimension, and the Nether is not being created. Accept it already, you're stuck. We were able to make a stand and where to get the growths. Now let's go for a walk further and consider what else you can find interesting and useful here. At every step, we come across new structures, all made in the style of this world, bluish icy. For example, here are greenhouses with red and brown mushrooms. There is mycelium inside, which can also be useful to you on the farm. There are also dungeons. There are 3 varieties of them: a tower, a fortress, and a futuristic-looking incomprehensible structure. They are right on the surface, and there are spawners of blue translucent creepers in them, which are not really creepers, but frosty ghosts. They don't explode, as you might have thought looking at them, but shoot at you. This mob is undead, so the healing effect is disastrous for it. Frosty ghosts have a peculiarity. If you come across them with your hitbox, then the effect of weakness of the 2nd level will be imposed on you for 4 seconds, which is very unpleasant. After getting rid of the guards, you can safely loot the chests. In them, you will find quite a few interesting things for yourself. In particular, among other things, bronca, weapons, diamonds, and golden apples can be caught. Apples, by the way, can't be obtained in any other way if you haven't brought oak saplings with you. But most importantly, only in that futuristic-looking dungeon, you will find growths and sand showers. As you understand, before you can master the fight against local monsters, of which, in addition to frosty ghosts and vanilla Spaniards, and not a few, you will have to somehow farm and survive. So now let's go back to the starting point with Dange and think about what we should eat here when the loaf from the very first chest ends. In fact, you won't have any problems with food at all. In addition to beautiful tulips, there are plenty of local frost-resistant crops, such as snow potatoes and snow beets. In addition, there is also a zhivka, in the form of vanilla bears, bunnies, and brown snow pigs added to mods. There is plenty of all this everywhere, so you won't starve to death. However, the crafting of food from these resources is somewhat different from the usual ones. Let's look at the pigs. If you kill such a pig, raw snow meat will fall out of it, which can be fried. In addition, brown fur will fall out of the pig. But that's not all. You can also milk such a pig. So pigs are a source of meat, wool, and milk in a harsh, icy world. However, it is impossible to cut pigs. You will have to kill them to get wool. By the way, snow pigs can be propagated with snow potatoes. And what else can you do with potatoes? By itself, in its raw form, it makes up for 1 bone of hunger. It will not work to fry, but it can be used to make fish soup. This soup will restore to you about 6 bones of hunger. To do this, you will need potatoes, fish, and a bowl. Craft is like this. I think when to be a fish, you will guess without my prompting. The second recipe from potatoes is sotatsai or Mongolian tea. It replenishes the 4 bones of hunger and saturates you for a very long time. In real life, it is made from green tea, milk, flour, salt, rice, and fat. Fashion is a little different. Craft is like this. However, fat is also used. Now let's figure out how to make fat. To do this, we need to craft a melting pot. This is done with the help of 5 iron ingots and 2 titanium ingots. The boiler needs to be installed. Coal needs to be loaded into it. So far it is coal. In the future, the developer promises to add the possibility of other fuels, water winds, and any meat or fish, salmon or cod. All slots are marked, so don't mix them up. We'll put the snow meat. You won't see animations either in the world or in the interface. But if you haven't mixed up the slots, then after some time, the bucket of water will be emptied, and in the slot for finished products, you will find a piece of fat. If you did not use meat, but fish, then the fat will turn out to be fishy. He's so yellow. Fish oil has a slightly different use than animal oil. Firstly, you will not make sutatsai out of it, and secondly, it can be used as fuel. It is 3 times more powerful than coal. Even with the help of it, a torch is being crafted, and also with greater efficiency. From 1 unit of fat and 1 stick, you will get 12 torches at once, not 4. Fat is used not only for cooking, and soon we will consider another area of its application. In the meantime, let's talk about beets. Snow beet is inedible in itself, but it can be used to make borscht. And in this regard, it is much more profitable than vanilla beet because it takes only one piece to create and not 6, as in the case of vanilla. And you can also get sugar from snow beets, 2 ones at once. From plants, in addition to purple tulips, snow potatoes and beets, the mod adds these stunningly beautiful bushes of glowing fruits. And they are really glowing and look very nice on the snow. If you knock down such a bush, its fruit will fall out of it, but it is not edible. Its purpose is to obtain light dust and grow luminous bushes. Glowing bushes can be planted around your base and thus save on torches and accordingly on sticks, so necessary for their crafting. And now it's time to talk about growing plants in the fashion of resistance. It is somewhat different from vanilla. The simplest thing we can grow is snow potatoes. In order to plant it, you need to convert the potato fruits into seeds. 1 potato will make 4 seeds. These seeds should be planted directly in the snow. Do not try to plant them in the garden. It will not work. Snow plants grow on snow. But what about other plants? After all, we could not get seeds from them in the usual way, and the fruits are not planted. In order to get beet seeds, glowing fruit, or tulip, we need to make a seed extractor. This is done with the help of 7 blocks of cobblestone, 1 block of lapis lazuli, and a titanium ingot. Again, as in the case of the boiler, we right-click into the device interface and see that lapis lazuli is needed for its operation. We put lapis lazuli here, and tulips, light fruits or beets here. Again, there is no animation, but after 30 seconds, we will have the seed we need. So far, the device processes only these 3 types of seeds, but in the future, it is planned to make it compatible with all plants that have seeds. You can fertilize the seedlings of the snow world with bone meal, but there is a small catch that it only works in survival mode. So if you test the mod in creativity, don't let it put you in a stupor. Vanilla plant seeds are present in the ice world. You can find them by climbing the dungeons. Speaking of dungeons, I forgot to say that there are also ordinary vanilla dungeons underground, but don't expect to find a mine. Well, now let's talk about fat, and about this 3rd device, the lubrication table, and why all this is needed. The fact is that with the enchantment books, you will have a strain, because it is extremely difficult to get paper and leather. But we can bypass this matter somewhat, and grease our sword with effects. To do this, you will first have to cook the fat with effect. Animal fat is absolutely necessary, and in order to put an effect on it, you need another bubble of water, or an unnecessary potion, and an ingredient necessary to create a potion with the desired effect. For example, to create a healing fat, you need a sparkling watermelon, a bubble, and fat. As a result, we get this kind of thing. To apply it to the sword, you need a greasing table. To create it, you need 2 logs, and 2 ingots of titanium. I hope by this time you have not transferred all the wood to boards and sticks. As in the case of the previous 2 devices, right-click and go to the interface. There are only 2 slots for entering sword and fat. I must say right away that it works so far only on iron and diamond swords. When you put the necessary ingredients, you do not need to wait 30 seconds. Just press this button here. At the exit, get a greased sword. Such a sword will give an effect corresponding to the applied fat for 4 seconds. The damage strengths of such a sword will match its vanilla source. Smearing fat in several layers will not work. That is, several effects cannot be applied to one sword. There is another small nuance. Perhaps you will still get a book or a sword with a cup somewhere. So, under no circumstances do not stick swords with good cups there, because after lubrication, the charms fly off. An oiled sword can be enchanted, but you need to apply the charm after lubrication, not before. The developer does not yet know how to get rid of this scourge. Perhaps one of you, dear friends, will be able to give her good advice on this. In general, in the end we can smear the following fats on our sword: regeneration, healing, harm, weakness, poisoning, and slowing down. I showed you their crafts, but for convenience, You can download the Gmod and use it to spy on all the recipes you need. The link, as always, will be found in the description. So, we have practically explored this icy world, and the only thing left for us is to return home. To do this, we need to make a special sword called a chopper. It cuts so-so, to be honest. The damage from it is simply bottomless, but this is because it is intended to cut not heads, but space. Crafting, frankly speaking, is not exactly unaffordable, but still quite painful for the conditions in which we found ourselves. 2 pieces of obsidian, 4 ender's eyes, a stick, and 2 gold bars. And now we have a chopper in our hands, local exotic trophies in our inventory, and all we have left is to right-click on any block with the sword. And we will return to the point of the original spawn in our normal world. Very fast and convenient. However, do not expect to also deftly you are bursting from other worlds. It works exclusively from ice. That's basically all I wanted to tell you about the Resistance of the Ice World mod. Personally, I liked the mod. Of course, it is still damp. There is no animation of the processes, but the idea itself is very good. I was very pleased with the color solutions in the blocks and plants. Purple tulips and light fruits turned out to be awesome. I would like to wish the developer to further develop the ice world. And what do you think, dear friends? If you have any ideas, comments, suggestions, or tips regarding the Resistance of the Ice World mod, you can leave them here in the comments under the video or on the mod page. I hope you liked my review. Put your fingers up in support of domestic fashion production. Subscribe to my channel. See you soon. Bye-bye.